Welcome back to Freedom to Think Broadcast. Here's another of our Freethinker React series. I'm your host, Jeff. Follow me at F2T Broadcast. Today is special. It looks like the community has spoken. I've had everyone reach out to me. But first was KTO. Samson just dropped his best video yet. Please review it. I guarantee it's fire emoji 100%. Fire emoji. Now I replied, what is the name? Not that I couldn't figure out what Samson's new song is, but I don't Google it, I don't search it, I don't put the name in, I don't even look at the thumbnail before I make these videos. I go off your recommendation, and once I have that song name and I announce it to the video, then I look up the video. So that's my first look at anything, just so you know. So the response is, I guess the name would help. It's called What About Us. It's the best one yet, and you're gonna love it. Now, I believe you because it seems like half the community reached out saying that I needed to watch this video. This is a cool stepping stone for the channel. The other day, we had Webby reach out and comment on a video saying that he loved the reaction. That's huge. And then today, we're going off of a mass consensus that I drop everything and watch one video. That's really cool. I saw some people's comments saying, oh, someone already told you, but you should check this. It's like, listen, fill up the inbox. If something comes out or you want me to look at something specific, go hard in the comment section. It helps with the algorithm. A lot of people following this channel are identifying with a lot of the themes that are going on in these songs and in current events. So my hope is that like-minded people of a questioning nature who like to think are going to be referring to me to watch these different songs from these different artists, and everyone in the community will appreciate it. And if they're good enough, you guys can help me by liking, by subscribing, commenting, which gives me more new material to work with. And if the videos are really good, you can share the video and tag the artist. Because my hope is later down the line, the artists would be very happy for me to review their video to our giant community. That's the goal. That's what we're headed towards. With the sensitive nature of the content that these artists are talking about, and my comments and insertions need your help beyond the normal algorithm to actually get the word out on these videos. So the liking, commenting, and sharing goes a long way. I'm really excited though. Let's get right into this.
Don't tread on me. Those are words that I stand by, homie. It doesn't mean I'm gangster. It doesn't mean I'm country. It means that my life is in my hands only.
That's a big deal. There's this crazy misconception that you have to be some like redneck country sister banging bumpkin in order to appreciate the founding fathers' Second Amendment and the concept of freedom. It's so weird. Obviously, they're just trying to paint a negative picture of people who go against their agenda. I'm from the hood in Rochester, New York, and I'm 1,000% on the Don't Tread on Me parade.
That I stand by, homie. It doesn't mean I'm gangster. It doesn't mean I'm country. It means that my life is in my hands only. I don't have money for security. I don't have armed guards that I keep snug around me. You don't think I deserve protection like you do, and that means you don't give a fuck about me.
Obviously, the Second Amendment has been contentious to one side only. Like, we're totally not paying attention to them at this point. Because these people, they don't know anything. I mean, you don't know the difference between a clip in a magazine, the difference between an arm brace and a bump stock, the difference between semi-auto and full auto. It's just sad. And so the people who have these armed guards and then go around telling us, oh, well, you can't have a certain level of protection. No. As I said, I grew up in kind of a rough area, and whatever bad guy wanted a gun got a gun. Making them illegal in any way only helps the bad guys. And you say, oh, well, if we federally ban them, then they wouldn't bring them from other states. Oh, really? And they wouldn't come through the southern border? Because how's fentanyl going? How's the slavery, human trafficking going? not well. You don't care about us. You don't care about safety. It's just control. And you can't have it.
I keep snug around me. You don't think I deserve protection like you do, and that means you don't give a fuck about me. Gated community, that's what you live in. Hatred and mutiny, that's what we live in. So come down here and hang with us for a minute. See if you leave with the same fucking opinion. Who's gonna help me out if I get robbed? What if somebody were to beat up my mother? Who's gonna be there to save our lives? You? Nah, me, motherfucker.
Oh! And he pulls out the 1911. Oh, this is good. You guys were not wrong. I'm so amped. I'm so amped. It's 6 a.m. and I'm just like, oh, Samson. Samson, I love it, buddy. I love it. Who saw the video yesterday? 80-year-old guy is getting robbed. It's 80. Some punks pull up to the convenience store. Guy walks in with a AR. Old man literally just blows his arm off. I mean, like, damn. Now, I say, please, thoughts and prayers for the 80-year-old man because the incident gave him a heart attack. He's recovering, but when you're 80, you just can't really get that excited. That's the point. If you don't have this blanket of protection, bad shit's going to happen. And it's not even that you need to use it. It's just you have to have the threat of it to maintain peace. It's peace through strength. Then, of course, we got Elijah Dickin. He calmly secured his girlfriend and engaged a target 40 yards away, firing 10 rounds, landing 8 of them, taking out that guy in the shopping mall. Freaking awesome. I'm going back a little bit extra.
A minute, see if you leave with the same fucking opinion. Who's gonna help me out if I get robbed? What if somebody were to beat up my mother? Who's gonna be there to save our lives? You? Nah, me, motherfucker. I'm the only one that's got my back. It's dog eat dog, these are not no cats. There's cops in Michigan that can't even respond to their calls cause their cars ain't got no gas. Great. Police don't have any fuel. You don't know if they'll arrive when you call them. The babies are starving. My girlfriend can't find a tampon, and yet somehow you and I are the problem.
The lack of resources also will lead to crime. I know my mom said back home in Rochester, people were mugging each other and fighting in the parking lots over toilet paper. See, here we ran out of toilet paper. And then what happened? Well, you would just go to the next store and go to the next store and go to the next store. I went to 6 stores before I found toilet paper. It's not an option to rob an old lady. Because if I tried that here, someone would shoot me down. No joke. Probably the old lady. But in those places, you run out of something and then it turns to chaos immediately. A lot of times we are seeing this with a manufactured crisis. So they do something that leads to something that causes a problem. Like the baby formula shortage, which my sister had to deal with. I'm sure you guys know people who had to deal with it. They closed down a plant, ended up not really needing to close down the plant. It stayed closed down way too long, had all these issues with getting back started, and then they're just pretending like it wouldn't be a problem. It's a huge problem. It could have completely been avoided. But he's just going after it right now. He's going nuts. This is so good.
Call them, the babies are starving. My girlfriend can't find a tampon, and yet somehow you and I are the problem. I've never bought a gun without having my background scanned and approved. The only loophole I've seen on a gun is the one that you put a fucking lanyard through. It's not true that you can go to the store and just swipe your card and get a Glock and run. It's funny, the people that say that shit have literally never even shot one.
Who's heard some like just crazy stupid stuff about guns from people who have no idea? Just no idea. My favorite is like the silencer issue. You may not know that a sound suppressor that you put on a gun does not make it silent because Hollywood pretends it does. They're like, psh, 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 psh. It's like, nope, it does not do that. So there's a lot of people that push to advocate in favor of sound suppressors to protect hearing. It just protects hearing. The whole point of them was for like our spec ops guys to be able to communicate over the sound of the gunfire, like shouting. It's not to be super quiet. Now, you can make it quieter with subsonic ammo, like really light loads. So if you use a lower caliber gun with a giant fat can and an underpowered round, you can make it quieter. But then if you take the can off, it's still a lot quieter because it's the round more than anything else at that point. There's a lot of people that get their only information about guns from Hollywood, and I swear it's difficult to deal with those kind of people. I almost had a coronary when I watched Anaconda and Jennifer Lopez shot the giant snake like 11 times in rapid fire with a bolt action rifle. Oh. Part of my soul died.
Get a Glock and run. It's funny, the people that say that shit have literally never even shot one. Dumbass. Hey, Matthew McConaughey. Shut the fuck up. Just cause you've murdered people on screen doesn't mean you know shit about guns, you dumb fuck. What, you worried about us? What about all of those violent movies that you played? How about you go talk to Alec Baldwin before you start telling me what to do, okay?
Oh, shit. Where's the chalkboard? We gotta erase it. It's been 0 days since violent attack happened. My brother-in-law is a cinematographer out in LA. So when Alec Baldwin shot his cinematographer, it definitely came around the family talk. It was funny to see all the people say, oh, well, the armorer shouldn't have done this, and the set designer shouldn't have done this, and the costume person shouldn't have done this, and whatever. And I'm just like, he shot somebody. He pointed a loaded gun at somebody. He didn't check to see that it wasn't. And he pulled the trigger. And then they continue. They're like, yeah, but this person did this and this person did this. I'm just like, I don't know how you guys are blaming everyone except the person who shot somebody. The most basic rules. Always treat a gun as if it's loaded. Never point it at somebody you don't mean to shoot. Keep your finger outside the trigger guard whenever you're not meaning to shoot. And then you got Baldwin going, the gun fired itself. Wait, do this again. Zoom in for effect. I never pulled the trigger. It fired itself. It's a revolver, dude. No one's buying that shit. Oh man, that was so ruthless. I need a second. I gotta calm my heart.
Violent movies that you played. How about you go talk to Alec Baldwin before you start telling me what to do, okay? Uvalde, I was horrified by it. That's your hometown, you were born right by it. It probably cuts deep and I hope that it does, cause you work in an industry that glorifies violence. It's more your fault than it will ever be mine. The Lord only knows how many crimes that you've influenced throughout your whole career, cause I've seen you kill people plenty of times.
Damn. There's a special place in hell for the Hollywood action star gun control advocates. Because you just sit there and you promote and glorify violence, crime, murder, and then come back behind it and say, oh no, don't act exactly how I act. I'm just waiting for him to drop a line about the hand sanitizer, though. Those cops were absolutely disgraceful. You got the one kid in Indiana in 15 seconds did what they refused to do in an hour. How many cops were there? Just playing on their phones and using hand sanitizer for a circle jerk while all these kids are getting shot. It was disgraceful.
How many crimes that you've influenced throughout your whole career, cause I've seen you kill people plenty of times. What do you think is gonna cause a shooting? A YouTube video of a gun review? Or a Hollywood murder scene that seems so realistic it looks like it's from the news? So next time that you wanna point your finger with a stupid opinion and chime in with it, remember, it ain't me that they're trying to be like, dog. It's you that they're trying to mimic. I feel way more safe in a place where the people are legally armed. If something happens like a mass shooting, I have a way less chance of being lethally harmed. The criminal is gonna think twice if he knows everybody is a piece underneath their clothes.
It's, preach it, sir. Preach it. The bad guys are terrified of the good guys with guns. You know why? Most people who commit crimes do not have legally possessed firearms, and they have no training with the firearms. My sorry civilian ass has so many more rounds down range than your average gangbanger. They're afraid of us for good reason, because of shit like this. If you don't have a laser target training system, you probably should get one. And you can talk all the shit you want about recoil, but sight acquisition, trigger control is king. And if you can get your first shot on target every time, you're money, dude. They're not going to.
chance of being lethally harmed. A criminal is gonna think twice if he knows everybody is a piece underneath their clothes. And Mayor Lightfoot will probably tell you different, but have you seen Chicago? And no, before you ask, I don't wanna be like Canada either, and I don't wanna be like Australia. I'm sick of everybody using them as a humanity meter.
Okay, people talk about Australia because of the Port Arthur. They confiscated the guns. They didn't confiscate. It was a buyback, so kind of a forced buyback. But two things. One, we don't have enough money to print to buy all of the American firearms back off them. That would never work, okay? Second, there's more guns in Australia now than there were back before that. So they didn't reduce the number of guns and get rid of crime. There's more guns now than there were before they took all the guns. Yet the lefties will just sit there and say, hey, we need to be like Australia. And it's like, what? Have more guns than before gun control happened? Because that's what happened. They have more guns now. Tell all of your lefty friends when they bring up the massive success of Australia. Canada effectively banned handgun ownership and effectively told people that they're not allowed to defend themselves. See?
You can't use a gun for self-protection in Canada. That's not a right that you have in the Constitution or anywhere else. If you try and buy a gun and say it's for self-protection, no, you don't get that. You get it for hunting. You can get it for sport shooting. You can take it to the range. No problem, as long as you go through our rigorous background checks.
You can tell anyone that wants to be like baby Castro, they can go to hell.
Be like Canada either, and I don't want to be like Australia. I'm sick of everybody using them as a humanity meter. There's a reason that they can do whatever they want to their citizens, like fucking throw them in camps. And there's a reason that our government doesn't even try that shit because they know that they can't. If you don't,
I didn't even get to that point, but yeah, then there's the secondary part. If you look at all of the blue areas, more and more and more power has gone to the government. Less and less and less freedom has stayed with the people. And you have seen during the pandemic response the exact reason that we advocate for small government, civil liberty, and our constitutional rights. Because everywhere that's done a little bit of trampling on the rights, did even more trampling on the rights, did even more controlling measures, and it sucked ass. So across the world, all those places where they're like, well, we have socialized healthcare, so we're better than America. It's like, yeah, how's their fucking healthcare in your camp, bud? I know someone that had to go to Australia to visit family, and he was stuck in a hotel for 2 weeks, not allowed to leave. They're dragging people off to jail for sharing offensive memes, taking preachers and throwing them in jail because they're worshiping in a time of public health crisis. So y'all can have bars and strip clubs open, but not the churches. That's what happens when freedom's taken away. And that's why in the Deep South and in all the red states, the government minded their damn business or else. That's how it works. Mind your business or else. That is what the Second Amendment is. That's what our Bill of Rights is. Constitutionally protected freedom. You work for us, so leave us alone or else. That's it. That's what Second Amendment's for.
Throw them in camps. And there's a reason that our government doesn't even try that shit because they know that they can't. If you don't think for one split second that if we didn't have our Second Amendment, the government wouldn't overstep its boundaries and make us do shit even when we're against it, you're out of your mind. I don't give a damn where you stand or how or what you vote. That's dandy and fine if you trust Uncle Sam, but I, for one, fucking don't.
Oh my God. Obviously, I'm going to be listening to the song again. Told you guys a long time ago, when I was a kid, my dad won me a sign. It was Scarface on the dollar bill, and it said, I trust me. And I had it on my wall, and I take it to the grave. I just don't freaking trust. You got to earn my trust, and it's a process. And these people in the media, in the government, in the pharma, have lost it completely. The trust is not doing so well. You can let them earn it little by little, but you got to hold them accountable when they lose it. And he's saying, hell no, not trusting that. 1,000% here for it.
Power, what you vote, that's dandy and fine if you trust Uncle Sam, but I, for one, fucking don't. And why would I? What have they done? Give me a reason for me to believe them. They want to trade me a little security in exchange for a big-ass piece of my freedom.
Perceived security, not even security, but that's the argument. I remember 2 years ago when all this started, someone was like, well, I understand trading some of our freedom for some safety. And I said, yeah, no, absolutely not. Zero. That's never worth it, ever. You trade your freedom for safety, you will deserve neither and lose both. The reason we don't trust is because they just won't stop lying. You know, when you change the definition of a recession so that it doesn't look bad that you've gotten us into a recession when we should be on a massive incline in production, that makes you look bad. When you're gaslighting people on what it is to be a woman, makes you look bad. When you say that a 39-week-old baby is not a baby, you got to wait for like the mom to consent that it's a baby. Losing credibility. When you say it's a mostly peaceful protest and then there's fires burning in the background, you lose trust. And when you cheer for China, who's throwing the Uyghur Muslims into concentration camps and exterminating them, I'm not going to be on the side of people who cheer for genocide, persecution, and stripping of human dignity and rights. Sorry.
And for me to believe them, they want to trade me a little security in exchange for a big ass piece of my freedom. They don't want to take away guns because they care about you and they want to keep you safe at night. They want to take away guns because it's easy to control people if they don't have any way to fight.
Hey buddy, what your little AR-15 gonna do when the government comes to take it?
Well, Ukraine started handing out rifles to all of the citizens when the Russians invaded, so what about that? I thought it wouldn't help. I guarantee that it'd be better than nothing. I hope it never does, but if the day comes, I bet that you're gonna wish that you had something.
I don't know about you guys, but it seems like the last year or year and a half, basically this whole presidency, it's been like one lesson after another for the left. You had this invasion in Ukraine, and that just showed that you need to have an armed militia. You need to have firearms on the home front in case of an invasion. We're getting the lesson on green energy because it takes a lot of rare earth materials to make solar panels and to make the batteries for these cars. And then you're seeing how efficient they are in actually charging. You're seeing where electricity is actually coming from, which is not necessarily clean. You're seeing that like the wind turbines are gigantic. They don't work in the winter. They don't work if it's not very windy. They don't generate much electricity for how giant they are. We're learning about the election process, all of the struggles, all of the issues, learning a lot about big pharma, learning about fake science. People covering up stuff and then having it released later on. And then we can literally look to different countries during the pandemic response and see, oh, that's another place that doesn't have freedom, liberty, and a Second Amendment. Look what just happened to those people. That's a nightmare. Certainly been an interesting time.
Be better than nothing. I hope it never does, but if the day comes, I bet that you're gonna wish that you had something. This is the only country on earth where the people have real strength. And nowadays, with all the shit going on, it's the only thing that makes me feel safe. If there's anything that I've learned in the past couple years looking back at the pandemic, all of the shit that we have is fragile, and it could snap at any second. Fuck all of the politicians. I don't trust anything they say. Take the word gun out of gun control, and that's all that it is at the end of the day.
For the American Revolution, they were taxing us unreasonably, and we decided we weren't down with it. So they said, all right, well, we're coming to take your guns. So we shot them all. You're not free if you can't defend yourself. And I've told other people, when it comes to the pending zombie apocalypse or whatever manufactured crisis ends up happening, it's not about having food, water, supplies, radio, all that good stuff. It's about having something to defend the supplies. Because somebody with absolutely nothing except a firearm could just come and take all your stuff. What are you going to do about it? You going to use foul language? Good luck with that. In order to be peaceful, you have to be capable of great violence. Otherwise, you're just harmless. It's not the same as peaceful.
Trust anything they say. Take the word gun out of gun control, and that's all that it is at the end of the day. I don't give a fuck how crazy you think that I look or I sound when I say this shit, but our Second Amendment's the only thing that stands between us and a dictatorship. And as for the kids, I'm not a security expert, so I won't act like one. But I think that if we can send over $50 billion to Ukraine, we could surely spend that much, or more, or less, here in our own country to fortify our schools and make them more secure so that every kid can get an education safe and sound. Place several trained armed guards in every school across America. You know, real men who won't stand by for 45 minutes in the hallway while a shooting unfolds in front of their own eyes. And pay them well, too. There's veterans that need the work. Why not protect our kids the same way that we protect you? Politicians are protected by guns. Celebrities are protected by guns. Every important person that walks this earth is protected by a gun. But our kids, they're important. Just not as much as you.
I think the message at the end is very important. If we could send billions of dollars to the Azov Battalion in Ukraine and not get any receipts or know what any of the money is spent on, then we can give some money to some vets, prior law enforcement, prior service. There's tons and tons and tons of veterans looking for work. They would love to be able to walk the halls and just make sure kids are safe. I'm certain there would be plenty of people chomping at the bit to have that job. Now, I live in the great state of Georgia, and here we have signs like this. Magically, somehow, there aren't that many shootings here. Anyone who means to do harm to any of our children will be met with swift and deadly force. That should be adopted in a lot of other places. Samson, this was so good on so many levels. I appreciate you guys pulling me off. I had like 3 videos in the queue, but I'm gonna jump ahead and put this one through first because the message is super important and relevant. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like, subscribe, comment what you think and what you'd like to see next. Stay strapped, my friends. I'll see you on the next one.